Hello, people of the internet, I'm Zu, or Tobi, one of those two. If you have read the title of the video, you already know what this what if is about, so let us begin. Today is a bad day for Izuku as he just lays on the ground bruised and beaten. He asks himself, why is his life so miserable? He thinks back to the beginning where it all started on his day of birth. It was supposed to be beautiful, a nice loving day, but instead, I was replaced with a dark day, a day of lost, not one of life. As Inko, the mother of Izuku, was giving birth to her what was going to be her new bundle of joy. She was happy that she was going to be a mother. As she is giving birth to Izuku, she starts to imagine all the new memories she will get from her new son, as tears start forming on her eyes from the pain but also of joy. The doctor said one more big push. Only a couple of moments later, Inko hears crying. She looks up to see a black and dark green hair baby. The doctor sees Inko monitor as her vitals were going down and nurses try to start stabilizing her, but the doctor tells the nurses to stop because they only going to slow down the inevitable and they can't do anything about it. Inko said, "Please let me see my new baby boy as my final wish," with a weak voice. As the doctor heard this, the doctor gave Izuku to Inko. As Inko holds him in her arms, Izuku smiled. That will probably won't be seen in the near future. Inko leaned in closer to Izuku and says, "You're going to do wonderful things when you grow up." "Sorry because I'm not going to be there to see you do it. I'm really sorry. I wish we had more time, but we don't. But try to become a hero like your grandpa Johnny Blaze, but know that I will support you in anything you become. Goodbye, Izuku." And with that, she lets out her final breath and the light fades from her eyes. After that happened, the doctor and nurses heard everything that Inko said to her newborn son and were on the verge of crying. Izuku beginning to cry as the nurse had taken him from his now new mom's lifeless body. Suddenly a middle-aged man comes running in the room looking around. The nurse and doctors say, "Sorry sir, you can't come in here, it's only family that's allowed in here," Izuku's father said to the doctor. "I'm Hisashi Midoriya, I'm Inko Midoriya, Blaze's husband." As the doctor hears this, he felt bad that he will have to tell him the bad news, but it's his job to do it. "Mr. Midoriya, please sit down and listen to what I'm about to say." Hisashi calmed himself down and sat at the chair. As he was seated, the doctor started to talk once again. "I have to inform you that your wife Inko died giving birth to your son." As the words left the doctor's mouth, it echoed in Hisashi's head and he started to have a mental breakdown and sobbed to the news. "Can I see her, doctor?" Hisashi said. The doctor gave him a nod and let him inside. As he looked around, his eyes landed on the now dead Inko. He walked up to her and saw a smile on her face as he got closer to her. And by her side, he ran his hand through her hair. After minutes passed that felt like hours, a nurse came up to him and asked, "Sir, do you want to see your newborn baby son?" He looked at her with anger in his eyes and said, "No, I don't want to see that murderer." The nurse only could shake her head at the words, but she understood and left. Days passed and Hisashi took Izuku home, and then years passed. Now Izuku was laying on the floor cold, bloody, and in pain. He tries to live, but he doesn't have the will or strength to activate his quirk because that's the only thing that will save him now. But he gives up as he tries to think of important memories, all the big ones like how he got his quirk, but the doctor said that he will probably not have a quirk. He gets a flashback. Izuku is now 4. He's going for his yearly checkup. Time skip. He is now sitting on a chair with his father outside because he doesn't want to know anything from the murderer. Izuku asked the doctor. "What is going to be my quirk?" he asked. The doctor looks at him and tells him that he was quirkless and because he had an extra joint in his pinky. When he heard this, he was destroyed and thinking, what will he say to Bakugo, but he now will get there when he gets there. As he left the doctor's office, his dad looked at him with a grossed out look for being quirkless. When they arrived home to an old apartment building, they headed inside. There were cans of beer everywhere because after Inko's death Hisashi took it hard, and the only way he coped with it was by drinking until he drops. As Izuku was walking to his room until Hisashi smacked him across the face so hard that he got a nosebleed as he was knocked down to the ground. As Izuku was getting back up from the slap, Hisashi kicked him right in the ribs, but Hisashi wouldn't let him recover as he stomped on him. After a good 30 minutes he leaves saying, "Quirkless fuck," and spits on his face. An hour later he gets up limping to his room where he cries himself to sleep. Time skip. After 3 days of recovering from the beating from his father, he was brought to school. As he walks through the hallway, reach his class and open the door. After a sat down and waited a couple of minutes until the teacher said, "Take your seats," and Izuku went to sit down. Then the teacher said, "Now that we are all sitting down, I can bring in the new student," as all the kids started to talk about who the new student was. Until she walks in, she had blue hair, but that all Izuku saw as he didn't care and went to sleep, still a little tired. As the bell rang for recess, all the kids went to play outside. As I was walking outside, Bakugo went up to and asked the question that I hated to answer. "So Izuku, what your quirk?" I just stayed there frozen still and exhaled and told him the true Bakugo. The doctor said that I'm quirkless. He told me that I have a low possibility of getting a quirk. He just looked at me for a second, then his face turned into one of disgust like my dad gave to when he found out. Well, after I said that, he said, "So you're useless, you're trash, you're a useless Izuku, you're a Deku." It hurt hearing the person that I presumed that was my best friend called me that. It didn't end there. After 2 months everybody knew that I was quirkless. But it got worse. They bullied me and beat me up, and after that, I had to go home to get my daily beating from my dad. But one day after school I was in the playground instead of going home. Either way, I was going to get beaten, so why not delay it? As I was just sitting there, I saw Bakugo and his gang bullying that blue-hair girl from class, but I paid it no mind, but something strange was pulling me to stop them. Before I knew it, I was walking towards them, but I don't know why, it just felt right. I was going to protect her because she is innocent. Why am I thinking? But before I could think, I noticed I was in front of the girl. Then Bakugo asked, "What are you doing, Deku?" I responded, "I really don't know, but I'm going to stop you." "So Deku, you think you're better than me now, hun? Well, I guess weak links stick together." After I heard that, I got angry and got into a fighting stance and was ready to fight. My fist felt hot, but I didn't care. I was ready to fight. As Bakugo saw this, his palms began to make a little explosion. As he went for a hit, I reacted faster and punched him in the face and sent him flying, and when he hit the ground, he passed out. As that happens, his gang of friends were scared and left, dragging his body away. And I went to help the girl up. I looked at my hand and saw my arm were now on fire and my hand was skeleton hand. Then it went back to normal. The girl looked at me with curiosity in her eyes, but then she took my hand to get up and I asked her, "Why were they bullying you?" She responded, "Because the blonde-hair guy said my quirk was weak just because I can only float and shoot out small spiral shockwave before I lose consciousness because my quirk uses my stamina." "But I have a question for you," I told her. "What's your question?" When I said that, she initially replies, "I thought you didn't have a quirk. That's what everybody says, but just a couple moments ago you had your fist on fire." Before I could answer, she asked more questions. "So can you shoot out the fire? Can you engulf yourself in fire? And why were you hiding it?" She was going to ask more question, but I stopped her by putting my finger on her lips to stop her from asking more questions, and I try to answer her questions. "First, I don't know. The doctor said that I had a low chance of getting a quirk, and all the other questions are I don't know." "Okay, but what's your name and quirk, by the way?" Then she answered me, "My name is Nejire Hato, but you can call me Nejire, and my quirk is wave motion." I got to know her better and more about her. As her quirk grants her the ability to convert her vitality into energy and release it in the form of spiral shockwaves. Overusing this quirk will cause her great exhaustion, due to it using her own stamina as a source of energy. Nejire can release the shockwaves from her hands as an offensive blast. She can also release the energy from her feet to increase her mobility and allow her to fly, but can only go up a couple of inches from the ground for now. As got to know her more, I just sat there looking at Nejire. She had fair-skinned with wide, curious eyes. Her upper eyelash long and thick, and her irises are a royal blue where her pupils are white. Her hair is periwinkle, not blue as I thought, and it reaches all the way down to her knees, twisting around itself at her waist and curving inwards around her legs. She has side-swept bangs, tucked behind her ears on the right and hanging just over her eyes on the left, and 2 short clumps of hair on either side of her face, curved towards her face on the right and behind it, under her ear, on the left. As time went on, she told me could I turn on my quirk, but I told her I didn't know how to do it. But she said to concentrate on what I was feeling when it happens, but after I tried I failed, so I keep going, trying more and more. On my 10th attempt it worked, but only a few seconds and it went away. More time passed by and she had to leave. I went home and got my daily beaten, but this time I didn't cry myself to sleep. I was happy I made a friend. The next days I hang out with her. Days passed, then days turned into weeks, then into months. Through all the time I was happy. End of the flashback. But today was my birthday. I hated my birthday because my dad beats me more vigorous. And this time he went too far. I was bloody and I just felt a single teardrop fall from my eye and roll down my cheek. To think this is how I'm going to die. I was going through all my memories and one lands on Nejire. I'm going to miss you, Nejire, but then I heard a voice. It told me to use your birthright as a blaze. The voice was convincing, but also it sounded evil. It was as the devil himself was speaking.